How did it happen?
What's up, guys? I'm Dan.
And I'm Jasmine.
Welcome back to Speaking Through the Gray, episode number 12, I think.
Sure.
Anyway, we have a special guest today, my sister, Tori Carey. Oh, that's not it. There it is. All right, and we'll shut that off.
You need to label that thing.
Hi, Tori. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Yes. So today's topic, we're going to actually... Oh, that's not it.
When did you make that?
I made it earlier. I'm sorry.
I almost got his t-shirt for the 5K that said that. So that's actually accurate.
So if you're listening on Spotify, I had a thing on the screen that said I'm with stupid and an arrow pointed at my sister. We have that kind of relationship, so it's okay. But yeah, so we wanted to talk about community and talk about some of the things that you're involved with. So yeah.
Before we start, I just got like a little thing from Wikipedia about what community work is, and then you can explain what you actually do. So, unpaid work performed by a person or group of people for the benefit and betterment of their community without any form of compensation. So, it's not boring. I'm sure it's very exciting, community work. So, what is your position and what does it involve?
So I am the president of the 44 Parks and Rec Board in our little town of 44. And the position involves working as a team to plan events, collect donations for needs in the community. As president, I like to be hands-on. I'm one of those, like, you know how corporate businesses, you have the CEOs who you never see because I'm not that type of person. I believe that if you're a president of something, you should be involved any way you can so you can see how everything works. So that's what I do. And as we grew up as kids, we learned that if you see the need, be the need. So that's what I do. If someone in my team, if we're asked to do something and someone on my team can't do it, I do it. I don't do it for the glory. Anyone who knows me, that's not what I'm about. I'm not about glory or attention. So I like to just
Then why are you
feel the
on
need.
a podcast right now?
Because it was asked.
I'm sorry. That was like so polished, and I was like, I need to break this up. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah. Well, you know me. That's basically what I do all the time.
That's what you do. Yeah. So,
yeah.
I mean, it's just filling everything, doing anything that's asked, really.
Nice. Cool.
So is it like mostly fundraising for your specific community?
Everything that we do, like if we do any kind of fundraising, it goes right back in the community. So we'll do things like we'll get food for the events, pay for games, so that the community isn't spending money to come to our events. We're doing all the money.
Yeah. And you guys also, don't you guys kind of like team up to do fundraising for groups as well? Like you guys are kind of involved with like the
Cancer Wellness Center. We help support them whenever they do events. We do what we can to help them out. Yeah. And collect donations that they need for their patients as well.
Nice. That's awesome. Hey guys, we're back. Oh geez. Apparently I had the wrong type of cable possibly plugged into the charge, and so the camera died. So hopefully the editing process wasn't too difficult. But anyway, where were we?
On to the next. We're now talking about pros and cons of working in your community, in the community.
Yeah. So pros, of course, are working in the community to see everyone coming together in unity to have a good time. That's one thing our group is big on, is just making sure we can bring joy to our community, especially in, these tough times for these families with the economy the way it is.
Yeah.
That's the pros, just seeing the happiness that we can provide to these families. Cons, well, there's always going to be those people who find something to complain about. But you just got to remember, you can't please everybody. It's impossible.
No, definitely.
All you can do is improve on the next event with those complaints and just use them as you can. And then my other con is I need an SUV because transporting everything to these events is impossible.
Yeah.
That's my one con.
Well, when we did the one worship night in the park, the first one we did, I just got the Honda, and I'm like, I can't believe how much equipment I actually fit in the Honda Accord. But shameless plug, if you want to sponsor us, Honda, we're available.
I doubt it.
Today, we're going to take a quick commercial break for Honda.
What are some things that people complain about?
The weather.
We had
that are
a
out of
complaint
control.
about not enough handicap parking, but even if we had a few and they were just taken up. Not every place there's gonna be handicap parking, but they're gonna be taken up. There's only so much one can do.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
lot of handicapped people.
And then we had an anonymous one
Oh.
complain that it was a Jewish holiday, so the Jewish families couldn't come to it.
Oh.
But it was
That's
also the
interesting.
Sabbath, so I'm like, how you guys really can't?
Yeah.
I
that's-
didn't
Yeah,
know.
so you
but
really
that
can't
was-
please everybody.
No.
That's
Yeah.
It is
fact
what it
that
is.
you just
we
can't.
got complained at because we didn't throw out kosher candy for Memorial Day from the Jewish community. So it's
Oh.
you can't please them. Even though I will be having
Yeah.
kosher candy next year,
Kosher candy.
just because
That's interesting. Like you don't think about every single culture all the time. So that's very interesting.
Yeah.
What about gluten-free candy?
Were the gluten-free people mad?
Was
Was your mom
my mom-
mad?
Was my mom? Oh God.
Oh, jeez.
But yeah.
So there's certain people in the community that are like a gluten-free pizza. It's just not for everybody.
Eat grass. It's
Yeah,
better than
yeah.
gluten-free pizza.
Yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible. We're getting off subject a little bit, but what's your favorite part about working with the community?
Basically just doing something for others, especially for these families. Like all of our events, we try our best to make them free because these families are barely being able to feed their families, let alone be able to do something fun. So we do our very best to make it free or so low cost that it's not even something they can think about.
Yeah.
So that's what my favorite part of doing is trying to think of ways to help our community as best as we can, as far as having joy and collecting things to help meet their needs as well.
Yeah. Because I think it's important, especially for communities to come together, whether it's faith-based or if it's just a general community thing, that like we have lost a lot in our country and in our world of like having purpose. And I think giving people something to rally behind, like whether it's the cancer walk or collecting canned goods or doing something that's going to help people, it's like it's not something that's common in our world today. So
Yeah, they have to see that you can like help people. And
Yes.
We're not all just sitting in our own little bubbles, just
Exactly.
being mean, I guess. I don't know.
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what is your favorite part about working in a community? Did I skip one?
No, I think
Did we do that one?
Daniel
that's what I
asked
just
that one.
asked. That
Sorry. My bad.
Am I looking at that?
Wait,
yeah.
did I read that right?
Yeah, yeah.
Time commitment. What's that like?
See, whenever I talk, usually it's the other way around. But when I'm talking, she's just like, oh.
It's an example of a marriage. We
Yeah.
have hear each other. It's just
It's like, hey, Jasmine, what did I preach on Sunday? God. You're safe this time. But anyway, yeah. What's the time commitment like for doing something like this?
Well, for me, when it comes to time commitment, I don't have kids, unfortunately. So to fill that void, I focus on work, family, and the community outreaches. I
And
thank
making
God
really good coffee.
and making coffee on Sundays and at home.
Yeah.
But I thank God for my calendar on my phone to organize all of those commitments, so I know that I can fit more in. And just I make myself available so that the community can reach out if they need anything. And I don't mean just 44 Parks and Rec. I mean our church as well, and the many outreaches we do there as well. And just making a time management schedule helps you to be able to fit all that in.
That's good.
Right.
So you work with different people on the board. It's a board, right?
Yes.
Is there like conflicts? Do you deal with a lot of conflicts or?
No, we work well together. I mean, we did this fall fest, and for 4 girls, because that's basically what we are. We did a big event with over 1,000 people that came out, and I'm very proud to have the team that I have behind me that are willing to work hard for this our little community and making this event not just for 44. We made it for everybody around us as well, and we worked together, and it was a huge success. So it helps when you have a good team.
Yeah,
Definitely.
we said definitely at the same time.
So cute. Oh,
No, I'm just
gosh.
kidding. Oh, shoot.
So this is supposed to be a Christian based podcast. So you're a Christian, correct?
Correct.
I mean, if you said no, then it'd
Lie
be like
detector.
awkward. So what, being a Christian and working with non-Christians in the community, what's that like?
I don't have many issues. I do get even as a child, even as an adult now, I get you're godly, you're religious. I'll throw out the whole, that's what she said, little comments every once in a while. People say things, they're like, you're godly. You shouldn't be saying that. I'm like, and I say every time, I'm like, you haven't met my brother yet. I say
And he's a pastor.
And he's an associate pastor. I say it every time. So that's really all I get is, oh, you're godly. Oh, you're religious. But it's like, but you guys got to realize, I'm not judging anybody. I know how to have fun and be funny. We're allowed to be that. Christians aren't meant to be judgy and strict and boring, uptight.
Yeah.
No, you're supposed to be fun and funny and loving to everybody, no matter gay, straight, race, no matter what. We're supposed to show the love of God to everybody. And that's what I do. And my way of doing that is I'm fun and funny, so I make myself more accessible to people.
Yeah.
It's good for people to see that as well, that you're a Christian and we're not just like some boxy character.
Yeah.
We're not those people you hear about that are out at Washington, D.C. with signs and stuff. Like, that upset me so much as kids when we saw that.
What was it? I think it was 2016. There was this like big event they were throwing in DC. It was called Together 2016. And we got there. We did like a skate trip that weekend. And as soon as we got there, like shortly after, the event got shut down because it was so hot that people were like passing out. But it was a bummer because we got there and like the 116 crew was on stage, and then Hillsong came on, and then they sang like one song, and they were like, "Oh, event's over," and we're like, "Oh." But while we were going there, like there's a barricade, so you can only get in like one or two areas for like safety. And outside of it, there were these people that were like megaphones and the signs and all that, and like they were like trying to condemn the Christians going to a Christian event. And I was like, well, this is weird. And it's funny because those same people, I'm like, this guy's screaming into my face in the megaphone. And I'm like, hey, can we have a conversation? And he's like, you're going to hell. And I'm like, buddy, we need to calm down. There's a volume knob on there.
That's who the media shows, though.
Yeah. Oh, for
We're
sure.
not showing the calm Christians, the funny ones.
No.
Yeah. No, definitely not. And I think there's definitely a balance between the two of those things, because like there's the one side where it's like fire and brimstone and no grace and all law. They're basically Pharisees, and whatnot. But then like there's the other side, which has become super prevalent. Did you just get your hair cut? You're like, yeah. But like the side where it's like all grace and no truth and no conviction and like I think that one of the things we have those just two extremes, and those are the two extremes that are seen. But the people, and I don't want to say in the middle, but like somewhere where God's truth and conviction of the Holy Spirit is the number one thing that leads us to live a righteous life. Because I was listening to the sermon earlier, and just righteousness, I actually just like wrote that like right here as like just a reminder, because it's like it's not about self-righteousness, because on our own we're not, but like it's that reality of like if we are seeking righteousness as a means to be closer to God, then our heart and how we encounter people and love people, and even if we disagree with their sin or what they're doing, it still goes in a different way than the person with the megaphone and the signs. And I think that's like, important. And again, like you're saying, just being in the community, being a resource, being a loving person, then there's better opportunity for someone like you to speak to somebody and share God with them than somebody who's, And
a lot of Christians, they keep forgetting when Jesus, when he was on earth, didn't hang out with the Christians and godly. He hung out with sinners, with non-believers. He hung out with them to show the love of God. And one thing I've been noticing, I went to Word of Life Bible Institute, and I saw one of my former classmates post that she doesn't want to use the word Christian anymore. She's calling herself a God believer, because the word Christian is now being criticized because a lot of Christians have given that name a bad rep. So she's using the word God believer. And I'm like, I kind of like that.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? But it's sad, but we grew up where our parents were in a legalist churches, and they didn't like that. They just chose to be different, and thank God, because you and I ended up good. We hung out with people that no one else would hang out with because they were different. They weren't, and we showed them the love of God.
Yeah.
Because we hung out with them.
Yeah.
And we didn't judge them for being different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between like hanging out with bad people and taking on their characteristics and, actually bringing some change into their lives.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of like, are you approaching it? And again, it's all about your heart and your mindset. Like, are you approaching this to be an influence, or are you in a place in your life where you are easily influenced?
Yeah.
Because like Christ was God in the flesh. So he was, he was fully man, but he was fully God too. So like he was using that power to influence people and lead them to a relationship with his Father. So like if you're, as a teenager, like I had a strong faith, and sometimes I look back and I'm like, there's some areas where I'm like, dang, it's probably stronger than I am in certain times now, and I have to like continually grow in that. But like when I was in high school and I started, like, I had friends that were into metal music. I didn't like it. I made fun of screamo music, and then I became a screamer in a metal band because all of that, I was using it as an opportunity to witness to people. And I was like, there's got to be a Christian version, like, that kind of evolved into that. But again, I think that we have to always understand where we're at, and are we in a season where we're on fire for God and can be an influencer and be somebody who's strong and set apart. And
that's very true.
So
I think it's nice when people see that you're like a positive light in their life. Like a lot of times they're like, why are you so calm in this situation? Or like they really want to know what you have that they don't. Yes. And they ask questions about it, which is great.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's all I have. Unless you.
Yeah. Anything coming up in the sphere of 40 Fort?
Yes, this Saturday is our tree lighting, and I'm always allowed to involve our church. Well, they know it. They just assume our church is always involved because they're such good helpers.
Yeah.
We have our church and a couple people from the other churches in 44th that are going to be involved in. They're going to be carolers at the tree lighting.
Nice.
And we're going to be giving out gifts to the kids from 44 Parks and Rec. Santa's coming on the fire truck. Woo. And so he will be seeing the kids for a bit, and then we're going to light the tree. It's literally going to be an hour and maybe 15-minute event. And
how big of a blowtorch do you guys use?
We don't.
Weird. Nice. Sounds good. And I know obviously a lot to come in the fall, fall's over. In the spring and the summer.
With Easter,
I know a lot of fun activities planned.
I heard you wanted to be mayor.
Oh, are you gonna possibly run?
I don't know.
For mayor?
If council asks, I'll mull it over.
All righty. She's already a politician, a non-answer answer.
Yeah,
I get that from my corporate office all the time at work. Also, if you didn't notice, there's a cool little gift here. It's a Christmas card.
Ow! Son of a nutcracker!
The best line.
Elf, we will keep this here through the Christmas season.
Hopefully our kids don't destroy it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fight for keeping it on. But Tori, thank you so much for joining us. And I just realized I didn't know where I was going from there after that statement. Thank you for watching Speaking Through the Gray.
Wait, a question. We didn't do the question from last time.
Oh, there is, and we forgot to.
I have no idea what the question is.
I do.
Is it hard?
Something about Lord of the Rings.
Oh God, you lost me at that. Then that's
Lord of the
that's my
it was
husband's topic.
You're right.
Yeah, it was Lord of the Rings or.
I was choosing one or the other.
Yeah.
Is it Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter? Lord of the Rings or
it was something like
one?
I'm sorry,
something.
Jonathan. We're gonna get our next guest to answer that question.
Do you have a question for our next guest? Random.
Do you like Lord of the Rings?
No.
Really? Do you
Tim
remember watching it when
does.
we were in high school?
I have never seen that.
I didn't
youth
pay
group.
attention.
I heard that
We
movie was
watched
of
it
the
at-
devil.
I was looking for kids making out
Harry
during
Potter?
it.
Harry
of the
Potter or
Rings.
Lord of the Rings? Lord of the Rings is actually, isn't it like based off of like Christian, like
I think
compared-
so. That's what Tim says.
Do you have a question for our next guest?
Yeah, no, this is going so well. Anyway,
I should make it Christmas themed.
You
right?
could.
yeah, I'm hoping our next guest, we do have him lined up for like 2 weeks.
He's a pastor. Yes.
Yeah, next
Okay,
week.
well, let's keep going with the movie topics then. Elf or Home Alone 2?
Good
Home
one.
Alone 2.
Two. That was the best
Specifically,
one.
that was the best
Specific,
one.
'cause
New York.
That is the best one.
Yeah, it is. It is. There's so many good lines. Have you given up yet? Never. Is that the same one with
Yeah.
the shock thing too?
Oh
And
my
the-
word. That's my father-in-law's favorite scene is when he's shocked and he turns into a skeleton.
So
Yeah.
good. Word. All right. We'll have to remember that for our next guest. All right.
Hopefully.
Thank you again so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week, hopefully next week, on Speaking Through the Grade. Have a good one, everybody.
Bye.
Speaking through the grave.